Hey there, Bruce, and welcome back to the Game of Fortune. The second game is underway, and we're doing our part now, although we're not in a hurry to get it done. We have to make a choice whether we're going to go the way that they want us to go or the other way, so bit of a Stanley Parable choice there, but obviously we're going to go the way they don't want us to go, because that's what you do, right? I'm a contrarian, I can't help it. Follow the path with no sand pile. Let's go down the path that doesn't have the sand pile. Look, I'll lead if you're unsure. Worst case scenario, we could just turn back. It's a race meant to slow us down. That makes sense. Lead the way. And so I did. I walked down the hall for a few steps and everything seemed to be fine. Nothing different, no dim lights, no obvious traps. It was probably some kind of scary sign to make someone hesitate. See, I told you things were fine. Guess you were right. Kind of a dirty trick to employ. Though now I wonder what would have happened if we'd taken the other path. Would it lead to a dead end? Dunno. It might have, but it's possible that both the paths lead to the same spot. Again, it might have just been... Huh? Everything went black as though someone had shut off a switch. And I was falling? Falling? How was I falling? I just stepped on some dry land a few seconds ago. Devon, what? My words were halted just as my body came to an abrupt and sudden stop. My guess, some kind of trap hole opened up and I fell right through. I must have fallen just far enough for the impact to kill me. Which is probably for the best. After all, I wouldn't want to suffer for however long it would take after hitting the bottom. It may be Devon to be spared and be able to turn around before falling herself. I feel like an idiot. Well, in a way it's fine. If I'm dead, then Devon has no competition. No competition, no problems. She'll live. Knowing that, I found myself in a calm state of peace, and my consciousness slowly began to fade away, melting away into the cold, dark embrace of oblivion. Bad end. Pitfall perils. Excellent. Reload. Alright, with the sand pile. No point in playing it risky. Let's just follow the door with the sand pile. Smart. That's what I would have done. Yeah, I'm not smart, okay? I just hope it turns out not to be a trap. Let me lead the way. Go right ahead. That's the gentlemanly thing to do, isn't it? Yeah, and if there are any traps or such ahead, you'll have some time to get out of the way. When you put it that way, I don't want you to put yourself at risk. It's fine, this is probably a safe path. Without fear, I walked forward through the hall, and eventually came upon another split path with the same conundrum. Another set of doors, one with a pile of sand and another with 2 grains of sand. Is this a joke? I'm not really sure. Let's just keep going through the door that has the pile of sand. Yeah. And so it went over and over again. We picked a path and then came to another set of doors. The only difference was the sand amount changed over time. The smaller amount getting larger and larger, the original pile getting smaller and smaller. Soon it was hard to tell exactly which pile was bigger. I'm honestly lost. Are we going in the right direction? Well, if you want to get technical, both of these paths have piles of sand, so either one would work. It doesn't say follow the bigger pile of sand after all. Devon stared between the 2 piles of sand. When does a few grains become a pile? That is an interesting question. I'm not sure, it's kind of like a gradient. If you go from a single grain of sand and you keep adding onto it until you eventually get a pile. It's kind of hard to give an exact number or moment when it goes from a non-pile to a pile. The same works in reverse too, right? If you remove a little piece of sand from the pile over and over again, when does it stop being a pile? Another interesting question. Sounds like a paradox of some kind, but I can't get the name in my head. Think there's a point to it? I don't think so. I really think it's just some kind of trick to make us hesitate. Eventually we'd have to get out of here, right? Of course. Let's just hope it comes sooner rather than later. Otherwise I'm going to get tired of looking at sand piles. Same. Such a strange thing to put in a race. She's trying to make us think. Or is she just having her own bit of fun? But also strange. Nevertheless, we kept walking until we managed to make a clearing. Oh man. There it is. The finish line. Ominous. Across from a giant bottomless pit. You gotta be kidding me. Now we have to get across some giant pit? Have faith. Huh? That's what the sign says there. Have faith. I'll just walk across it then. Are we supposed to just walk across? Or maybe we're meant to fall, like maybe we'll land in a giant ball pit. That's somewhat wishful thinking. There's faith and then there's stupidity. There's no way the Bell could expect us to willingly jump across this, right? I don't know. The gap from here to the other side is way too far to jump. There's no rope or anything we could toss to the other side to rappel ourselves up with. The walls might be craggy enough to hold on to and climb from one side to the other, but neither of us are exactly the strongest climbers. Think that we could climb the walls? Huh? You were thinking that too? I don't know, I just felt a surge of confidence when I thought about moving across the walls. I don't know why, I've never done rock climbing before. Maybe because my life depends on it? Right, but even so. I peered down into the darkness. It glared back with horrifying emptiness, taunting me to jump down and see how bold I was to challenge it in a bout of reckless abandon. What the hell do we do? Oh, cool. A choice. Jump across. We have to have faith. We just have to jump across. Or jump into it. I'll go first. Are you sure? There might be some other way. You don't have to do this. I stared at the sign once again. Have faith. I can do this. Belle needs a winner. I doubt she's going to let both of us die if this is the wrong answer. If this is the right answer, then everything will be fine. I took a deep breath and approached the ledge. Have faith, have faith, have faith. I clenched my fist and shut my eyes as I leapt forward toward the eerie emptiness below me. I felt the sensation of falling for a split second, but I knew that much would come. What came after would be what determined if I lived or if I died. I prayed that I'd feel some solid ground below me, or maybe just some soft ground that would absorb whatever impact I crashed into it with. Something, anything that would keep me alive. Faith, spare me this one time. My feet landed on nothingness, as if the air itself solidified under my feet. I wasn't falling, I was secure. Fuck yeah! I turned back to Devon, who seemed just as surprised and elated at my survival as I was, and was quick to leap right toward me. Whoa, slow down there. It was too late though, she was already mid-jump, but she landed right in front of me, as secure as I'd been when she jumped. Guess all I had to do was have some faith. Talk about a dirty trick. Who in their right mind would run right across an empty chasm expecting firm ground? No one. I think that's the point. It's meant to make you stop, think, and freeze while your opponent catches up. Yeah, I guess I see what you mean. So the rest of the way should be safe then, right? I'd assume. I took a careful step forward and the empty air in front of me stood firm. Devon held onto my arm as we walked the rest of the way across. My heart was beating like crazy until I could reach the other side of the chasm, with my feet firmly planted on the other side. Phew. We made it. We made it. Devon wrapped both her arms around me and pulled me into a hug. Damn, I didn't think that it would actually work out like that. Yeah, but now comes the real challenge. I mournfully look at the finish line. So what do we do now? The realization hit Devon, and her jubilation was quickly replaced with a tense sorrow. Why don't we just cross it together? I don't know. She squeezed her arms around me tighter. I don't want to go. I don't want to die. And I don't want you to die either. I don't want to let you go either. I don't want to see you cry. I don't want you to suffer through this alone. I don't want you to think I abandoned you. I just don't know what to do. What do we do? I wasn't sure what to do. We delayed it as long as we could have. But we had to make a decision one way or another. Any and every part of me was burning with a desire to keep Devon safe, pull her closer and closer into me so she'd feel safe. It was almost unbearably painful. Devon... My heart was beating against hers. I could feel the rhythms matching, beat for beat. For a few seconds of silence, we just held one another, hoping that we could somehow find a solution. Or at least find some comfort in one another's arms before Belle or some other force tore us apart and made us choose. But before that, my mind buzzed with words looking for a way out. So many things I wanted to say, so many things I wanted to do. The least I could do was at least speak these words that I wouldn't have the regret of never saying them again. Devon... I spoke the words so quietly I couldn't even hear them myself. But I knew I'd said them. I had to have. Clyde, Devon brought a hand up to her head and looked as though she were in pain. Are you alright? What's wrong? Nothing. Nothing's wrong. Oh. Must have been a passing headache or something. I have an idea. Let's try and cross the finish line together. Yeah, that's what I would have done. Can we do that? It's worth a shot. Maybe Belle will let it happen. I feel like Belle would use some kind of camera or magic to show who crossed first. Let's just give it a try. What do we have to lose? Each other. You're not making this easy. Just please give it a try. For me? Okay. We both stood up and walked closer to the finish line. I wasn't sure exactly how we'd managed to get there together, but maybe we can. I was shoved forward right past the finish line. I didn't even have the strength to stop myself as the force caught me completely off guard. I turned back to see Devon smiling back at me. Devon, did you? Push you? Yeah, of course I did. Knowing you, it would be impossible to make you cross the finish line before me. So I took matters into my own hands. Get it? Because I pushed you. Come on, laugh. It was a little funny, wasn't it? Funny? You just got yourself killed. You just pushed me to win. Why? Lots of reasons. For progress, to avoid pain, selfish reasons too. I've seen you die enough times here already. I've killed you more than I'd like. This time I'll die for you. What are you saying? You'll remember sooner or later. Even if you don't remember this time around, you'll remember eventually. And everything will be fine. If this doesn't make sense, just remember this much. Help Zeph get to the end and this will be over much faster. Huh? What are you... I'm late. Belle ruined the moment by appearing in a puff of blue smoke, along with Zeph and Kishi, who seemed just as confused as I was when she appeared. I missed my cue, damn it. Sorry about that, I was just caught up in that touching moment. You two are going to make me cry more than I'm legally allowed to in this game. What are you talking about? I don't even know, dude. She was just watching the television like she was engrossed in some kind of drama show. But hey, you won. Even if you had to literally be pushed across the finish line. From the sounds of it, I'm guessing that this was the best outcome. The best outcome? What are you talking about? You and Devon are going to die and you think this is the best outcome? You'll get it sooner or later. What? I don't... What are you all... Okay, that's enough of that. We know you're very confused, Clyde. You'll probably stay that way for a while now. Why does Devon know more about this than I do? We just got here. But let's save the frantic confusion for after my announcement. Why are we the only one out of the loop? The winners of the radical relay are Zeph and Clyde. We knew that already. Sheesh, you don't have to yell. I just had to make it official so there'd be no confusion. Felt like I was going insane. It seemed that everyone else but me knew what was going on and acting as though I was missing out on the joke. Am I just losing it? Easy now, don't blow a gasket. Just let the moment pass. Well said, Zeph. Now that we've gone through the game, all that's left to do is perform the executions for the losing team. Wait, please, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to lose her. It'll be okay, Clyde, we'll meet again. Trust me. If you keep this up, I'm going to start crying again. And I already told you that I can't afford to shed any more tears. So let's get right to it then. Belle grabbed a hold of Kishi and Devon. Oh, it's been nice having you. Enjoy your trip. Without hesitation, she jacked the two of them back into the chasm. No. I reached out to grab Devon, but I was held back by Zeph, who kept me from chasing after her. It's too late. There's no point. No. I watched as they both fell down into the abyss in silence. No words, no screams, nothing. Just ominous, empty silence. Like they'd been erased from existence. No. I crumpled down on the ground. I'm sorry, but this is just the way it has to be. Devon. I see that you're going to need a moment, so I'll just let you know that you're free to move on to the next lounge. Through the hallway here. I've got another game to run, so try not to break down emotionally too badly that you can't walk. That'll really put a kink in my plans. Don't worry, if you get stuck, I'll drag him over if I have to. Thank you very much, Zeph. Glad I can count on you to keep things running. Well, I'm off. See you later. Toodles. Belle vanished in a cloud of smoke. Come on, let's go. Ain't nothing here for us. They're gone. They're both gone, just like that. Just give me a few moments to mourn at least. Alright, that's fair. Zeph sat down beside me in silence. We didn't say anything, I just stared into that bleak emptiness for minutes, trying to make sense of everything that had happened, trying to make sense of the maelstrom of feelings churning in my head. It's pretty bad, doesn't it? Of course it does. How could I not be hurt? Don't you feel the same way? Or does knowing whatever trick lets you both live make you kill one another without a single bit of pain? In some ways it makes it easier, in other ways it doesn't. Every time I see Kishi get hurt, I ache all the same. And there's nothing I can do about it. What do you mean there's nothing you can do about it? You two are here for a reason, aren't you? For some wish. It's not like you had to come here, and even if you did, you could have just let Kishi win the game. You didn't have to run your part. You're right about one thing. We're here because we have wishes that need to be granted, but it's not like Kishi had to be here. It could have been anyone. I didn't want her to come here, not again. Not after how it fucked with her since last time. But it wasn't my choice. As much as I wanted to do this alone, I didn't have a say in the matter. So she was forced in here? Something like that. As for letting her win, I wish I could. I wish I could let her win every game without so much as a scratch in her body or a headache in her skull. But that's not how this place works. Suffering and pain are inevitable, just as all our deaths are. In some ways, that's probably for the best, at least for me. What do you mean by that? Zeph turned away from me and looked back down into the empty pit. Chances are that at the end of this, no matter what happens, I'm gonna die. You mean here? No, not here in these death games. Out there, the real world, where everyone is. I'm in a lose-lose situation. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. Zeph sighed and rubbed the back of his neck. You'd be happy to throw your life away to protect Devon, wouldn't you? I wouldn't say I'd be happy to do it, but there would be a sense of satisfaction knowing that she was safe. Right, but if you knew she'd hate you forever if you did it? She'd resent you for the rest of her days, and the days she has left wouldn't exactly be happy either. But she's alive. She can find happiness without me. She'd find a way. Yeah, I guess you're right. I just wish I could enjoy that happiness with her. With Devon? No, you idiot, with Kishi. Hard to do that when she's dead. She won't be dead forever. She'll be back. Devon will be back. But in the end, what matters is what happens afterwards. Can you tell me how you know this? How everything will be okay? You sound so confident, but I don't know anything about what's going on here. Yeah, I'll tell you if you promise to get up and walk with me. You promise? Yeah, it's not good for you to sulk too long. Looking at an empty bottomless pit is going to give you some bad ideas. So come on and get up. You'll feel a lot more inspired once you hear what I have to say. Fine. I was admittedly getting tired of looking at this empty pit. Nothing would change if I just stayed here after all. I stood up and walked beside Zeph down the hall. The scenery changed, shifting from cave-like structure in the familiar hallway from before. There. You feeling a little better? Not really, I still kind of feel like shit. But you're not crying and you're moving, so that means you've got some fire in you. That's what's important. Stop stalling. Tell me what you know. Alright, I'll let you in on the details. It's pretty simple, actually. See, Bells likes people who put in the effort to play and win her games, no matter the odds. Even if you know you're going to lose, even if you have no chance of winning. She wants a show, a fight, a drive to do whatever you can to win. Even if you end up dying, she'll revive those kinds of people when the game is over. It's that simple. Seriously? Yep, just that simple. Then why keep it a secret from us? Didn't you hear what I just said? Belle likes a show, and she likes people that give it their all. If you thought that death didn't mean anything here, then you probably half-ass your way through some games. And if that happens, she's just going to keep you dead. We were just trying to keep you motivated. But you and Kishi have done this before, so clearly you're able to find the motivation to play to the end despite knowing what happens. So that logic is flawed. It's a precaution. Belle doesn't like it when you spill the beans too early for newbies like you. You've been through 2 games now, so she's probably okay with it now. I still get the feeling that he's not telling the complete truth. But if a piece of what he's saying is true, then that means that Devon is safe. I just have to keep going. Fine. Guess there's nothing that can be done but press onward. Exactly. If you give it your all, you don't have to worry about what happens in the end. I'm sure that Devon put up enough effort to be revived. And Kishi? Of course Kishi put in enough work. She's the toughest woman I've ever known. You're just saying that because she's your girlfriend. No, I'm not. She really is amazing. Though she's just kind of gotten tougher over the past few years. I remember when we first met, she was a lot more, not meek, just non-assertive. She tended to do what people told her rather than stand up for herself. Passive? Yeah, that might be the best way to put it. She was passive. Rockstar Kishi Mistwalker? Passive? It's not exactly an image that comes to mind. Well, that's because she changed a lot over the past 8 years. She wasn't always that bold, not outwardly. Her grandma is like a drill sergeant sometimes. Doesn't surprise me that she probably was passive because she did whatever her family told her to do. I'm guessing you're on good terms with her family. Not exactly good terms, no. If anything, I'm probably viewed as some kind of nuisance. The guy that corrupted her obedient sweet darling into an outspoken rock star. Which I'd gladly take credit for if it were true. It's not? Kishi always had a fire in her, she just needed a little nudge, that's all. So you're saying you're not responsible for getting Kishi to form Primordials? Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, her stage name was my idea. Never would have guessed he had such an impact on her life. Not as much as she had an impact on mine. Without her, I didn't even know where I'd be. How sweet. I mean, literally. I only met her because of some freak accident. And if I hadn't met her, well, I don't know where I'd be. Huh? What do you mean? Just what I said, must have been around 8 years or so ago. Wasn't a real bad car crash. Bad enough that it caused me to lose all memory of what my life was like before it. I was in a rough shape too. Head was busted up, cuts and bruises. Think I had a broken rib, some internal bleeding. It was a miracle that I was alive. And somehow I was able to get rushed off to a hospital and they were able to perform some quick surgery on me to save my life. That's where I met her. Hey, how you feeling? Huh? Does it hurt to talk? I was still out of it, but I could remember seeing her seated right next to me. I didn't know who she was or why some girl was checking up on me at all. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Where am I? You're in hospital. You were in a pretty bad crash. You managed to survive. Lucas didn't make it, unfortunately. I was in a crash? I guess that explains why I'm in the hospital. But who's Lucas? No one that you need to worry about. How are you feeling? My entire body hurts. My head feels kind of loopy. And I can't really move that much. And I can't seem to remember much. That might be because of the head injury you sustained from the crash. What can you remember? My name, my age, what grade I'm in. That's it? I'm trying to remember more, but I can't think of anything. I don't remember whatever crash I happened to get in. Okay, that's alright. It's probably only temporary. Who are you, by the way? My name's Kishi Umishima. I'm with the Digits of Eden. Though I guess you wouldn't remember them, would you? Name doesn't really ring any bells. That's fine. I just came here to let you know that the Digits of Eden will take care of this incident. Your hospital bills will be paid. You'll be reimbursed for your service. What else? Do you have the name or number of someone you could contact? I just told you I don't remember anything. But I'm sure that my family will come by and get me, right? As soon as I see their faces, I bet my memory will come back. Right. We have some general numbers that we can reach out to, so let me make some calls and maybe we can let other people know what's happening. Hey, wait. What? Is this organization or whatever the reason I got in a car crash? That's, I don't know if I can say. I don't even know all the details of what happened, so... You're not some kind of scammer trying to get my money or something, are you? What? No, I'm just here because everyone else is busy. Busy? They couldn't send a single adult or, like, someone else around? They sent some high schooler? You're a high schooler too. Yeah, and I know I shouldn't be going around trying to represent a company. What, you some kind of intern? She pouted and crossed her arms across her chest in frustration. So what if I am? I'm doing important work because everyone else has issues to deal with. So you're just what they had left over. She pouted again. I'll be right back. I'll make some calls to your family and let them know what's happened. They can come check on you and take you home when you're fully recovered. Sure, go ahead. She left the room for a few minutes and I was still utterly confused over what had happened. Apparently I was in some crash due to some people called the Digits of Eden or whatever. I'd lost my memory, but I figured things would be fine. Whatever the situation was, I wasn't going to have to pay for anything. Sure, there'd be some recovery period, but I was happy just to be alive. Eventually Kishi came back to check up on me with a muddled look on her face. Something the matter? Nothing serious, I was just having trouble getting in contact with your family. But I left some voicemails, so I'm sure they'll get back to me. Or someone. Maybe they'll rush right over here as soon as they get the message. Yeah, that makes sense. Until then, I'll stick around so you don't get lonely. I'll be fine, I'm sure they'll come around sooner or later. All I can do is rest anyway, right? Yeah, I guess so. I figured that it'd be as simple as that. It was still early in the morning, so I just went to sleep. When I woke up, it was mid-afternoon and no one had come around to get me. But Kishi was still there, reading off her phone and waiting for updates. Sometimes she'd leave the room to answer calls or make them, but she'd always come back around just to keep me company. And more time passed. The day turned to night, and still no one showed up. Kishi didn't receive any calls. It was just me and her. I'm guessing that my family's just busy. Or did something happen? I don't know. They haven't returned my calls. No one's telling me anything either. So I don't really know. It's fine. Someone will come over. I bet when I go to sleep and wake up, my mum or dad or siblings, they'll come right over and be happy to see me. Yeah, you're right. But just in case, I'll come back tomorrow. Sure, that's fine with me. I guess you'll need to be here for whatever official business you've got to do with my folks, right? Yeah, exactly. We can get everything squared away then. So, have a good night. See ya. She left the hospital for the day and I went back to sleep. Honestly, I was expecting my memories to pop back up when I awoke the next day, along with my family or friends or someone to come get me. But the next day it was the same. No one was there, no one had come to check up on me. The only person who showed up was Kishi. We spent some time just chatting, filling in the empty space and time. It was nice to have someone around I could talk to. Secretly, I was just hoping that my family would interrupt those talks. But just like my memories, nothing came. No family, no friends, no one. At the end of the second night, they had considered me healthy enough to discharge from the hospital. But since no one had come to get me, Kishi called for a ride to drop me off at my home. Or at least the home they had on record. I wasn't sure what the holdup was. Maybe they were busy or maybe something else was going on. But when Kishi woke me up to my door of a worn-down apartment, I was surprised to see that I wasn't wanted. Apparently I'd failed some kind of mission. They didn't want me back. They wouldn't take me back. And the only thing I got was a wooden door slammed in my face. I didn't understand. I didn't know what mission I was supposed to be on. I didn't know why they hated me so much for failing it. I just knew that they didn't want me around. that I'd been shunned. And just like that, I had nowhere to go, no one to turn to. I was lost. I'm so sorry. I don't even understand. What did I do wrong? I don't remember anything. If at least I knew what I did wrong, I could make sense of this. But I don't even get why they're mad at me. Was that my father? My uncle? Someone else? Don't they know that I just got into a serious car crash? What the fuck is wrong with them? They're fine just throwing me out to live on my own? I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. Why is this happening to me? Hey, don't panic. We'll figure this out. Somehow. How? I don't have a place to stay. I don't know where I go to school at. What are my next steps? How about you stay at my place? What? Just until we have things sorted out. The last thing you need is to be trying to figure this out on the streets by yourself. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm so overwhelmed with this shit. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It's okay, we'll figure it out. I promise that you're gonna be okay. Alright. I'm sorry that this happened to you. Huh? Don't worry about it. Just talking to myself. Kishi's family wasn't exactly keen on having me around, but after the situation was explained, they were a little more forgiving of Kishi bringing me over. So you just stayed with them? For how long? Wow, it was supposed to be just 1 week. Then 1 week turned into a month, 1 month turned into a few months. Eventually I just sort of stayed there. Of course, I was still a student, but I didn't want to be a freeloader, so I worked on my free time. But even that didn't keep the resentful members of the family from looking at me. At times I felt like I was just some stray dog that Kishi brought in. But I figured it was better than being homeless, so I just tried my best to ignore those feelings. Plus, I liked being around Kishi. She was sweet, friendly, smart and beautiful. Compassionate. The only thing that was missing was some boldness. But being in the same house, we had a lot of times to talk about our dreams, our desires, what we wanted to get out of life. She wanted to do something creative, but her grandma was dead set on her following in her footsteps. What kind of footsteps were those? Running the digits of Eden. If you haven't figured it out by now, her grandma's a pretty high-end position with the digits of Eden, which caused its own problems. Huh, I never would have guessed. Anyway, as much as I tried to inspire Kishi, she was still pretty hesitant. Probably still scared of disappointing her grandma. So I made her a deal. If I pursued my passion, she would pursue hers. And what was your passion? Ain't it obvious? Skateboarding? Yeah. I've always loved it, or at least I think I've always loved it. Either way, I started making some videos of my tricks with them. Guess I got lucky because I became a star after a while, though I'm sure you know. Once I had my success, Kishi had no choice but to do her own thing. So she started up a band with some friends of hers. Even though her grandma wasn't exactly happy about this, she didn't stop it. Hell, she even helped boost her to become as successful as she is now. Really? I ain't saying that Kishi doesn't have talent or skill, but she had a lot of help from her grandma to get the reach that most new bands could only dream of. Guess that's the benefit you get for being related to someone with that power. So when did you two exactly start dating? I feel like I should know this answer in case Kishi asks the number of our anniversary. It was during those early years. I can't say exactly when we were officially dating. We just sort of did it. I don't know how to explain it. We spent a lot of time together. The romance just bloomed from being close, I guess. I really don't know where I'd be without her. Probably depressed and homeless. Sounds like it was a miracle that she was the one, that she was there for him after the car accident. But there's one thing that strikes me as odd. Why did Kishi even bother to go check on you in the first place? As a representative of the digits of Eden at that. That's well, a bit more of a somber thing to talk about. Zeph sighed, but his face firmed up. I found out about this a bit later after the accident, but turns out I was meant to participate in the Game of Fourtune 8 years ago. What? But you were only 16 back then. Why would you participate in something like that? I didn't, at least. I don't think I wanted to. I found out later from Kishi that it was sort of sent over as a deal. A deal? Basically, the Digits of Eden were going to give a large amount of money and property to some people if they could prove their loyalty to them. So to prove that loyalty, I was supposed to participate 8 years ago and make a wish on the behalf of Digits of Eden. I even got picked up and was meant to be driven over to where the game was going to take place, but because of the accident, I couldn't close the deal, so to speak. Which I think is the reason the people at my home were pissed off at me. I just had one job to do and I couldn't even do that. But it wasn't like it was your fault. It was just a freak accident. Yeah, well, I guess to them, they didn't care. A deal went through either way and, well, I just got tossed out. That's fucked up. Think about it, they were going to use you as a bargaining chip to get some money and property? I don't know the details, Clyde, but from what I've been told, the Digits of Eden does this all the time. They get people to prove their loyalty to them by making them do all sorts of things. My family, well, I can't tell if they were desperate or were just loyal followers of the Digits of Eden, but they were willing to do anything for them. Maybe they're just fanatics. That's what it seemed like when I went to visit them later. Zeph sighed and shook his head. It's sad, but that's what happens when you deal with cults. They prey on the desperate, and the desperate are all too eager to grab at a glimmer of hope, no matter how tarnished it might be. Anyway, it's just the two of us, so let me tell you one thing. No matter what happens today, walk away from the Digits of Eden. Don't listen to whatever crap they have to say after all this. Don't get swept up in their celebrations and cheers. You're better off forgetting whatever happened here if you can. Thanks for the advice, I'll keep it in mind. Good, well, let's get going. Hallway ends further up. Yeah. We walked in silence for the rest of the hall. End of the line. Again. Yeah, I see what you mean. Probably just another lounge, right? Probably. I don't imagine Belle's the type to shuffle things up too much. At least if we're talking about where these halls lead to. Let's see what's behind door number 1. And with that, we're out of time for this episode. Which is perfect timing, really. So we got a bit of backstory about Zeph and Kishi, and, well, especially Zeph, and a bit more knowledge about the game in general. I had a feeling that it was not, the deaths weren't exactly final or something, and it seems like Devon even has memories of other routes that we haven't even done yet. So that's interesting. We'll see how that plays out eventually, I'm sure, but until then, thanks for watching, Bruce, and I'll see you in the next one.